Now at 9, new details have been released today about the assassination attempt on former President Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
New details being released about the assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Anthony Saviello. Tom Foreman breaks down more of the details about yesterday's attempt on the president's life.
6:04 Saturday evening. Before an adoring and roaring crowd, former President Donald Trump steps to the podium. 7.5 minutes later,
take a look at what happened.
Pandemonium. Amid a series of sharp pops, Trump touches his ear and ducks. 3 seconds later, Secret Service agents are swarming in to shield him, and security snipers have opened fire on the would-be assassin.
It seemed initially like firecrackers went off.
As chaos erupts among the attendees, one rally-goer sees another man has been killed despite the rescue efforts of bystanders.
They jumped the bleachers and started clearing the bleachers, and then I helped carry the body of the man down out of the bleachers, and they took him to a tent behind the bleachers. We put a towel over his head, but he is deceased.
It all happens fast. 30 seconds after the first shots ring out, the podium's microphone catches Secret Service agents coordinating Trump's evacuation from that stage.
Hold, when you're ready, on you.
Then, just over a minute after the violence started, the all clear.
Shooters down.
At 6:12 p.m., the agents rise with Trump and try to usher him rapidly away. But, he says,
Let me get my shoes.
Shortly after, he's on his way to a safe vehicle. But he tells agents to pause again. He turns to the rattled crowd in what will become an historic photo. Soon, pictures start surfacing of what appears to be a dead gunman on a roof not more than 500 feet away from Trump's right side as he stood on the stage, and the much more methodical police work begins.
We need the public's help. Anyone who was on scene, who saw anything.
As the FBI and partners start piecing together who the assailant is, how he got there, whether he acted alone, and ultimately why he fired. An investigation that certainly will go on for months into a violent explosion of seconds.
Now, information has been released about the suspected shooter, the name of the suspect being Thomas Crooks. Law enforcement saying Crooks used a semi-automatic assault rifle purchased legally by his father to carry out the attack yesterday. As you heard earlier, law enforcement is still working on trying to figure out a motive behind his attack. Crooks has been reported as a registered Republican. The identity of the attendee who was tragically killed at yesterday's rally was also released. He is 50-year-old firefighter Corey Comparator. Corey was reportedly shielding his family from the gunfire. Another gentleman attending the event reportedly tried to help Comparator. He spoke with a reporter just moments after the incident took place.
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around and was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter there. And so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got
Was there only one person shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions, as well as I breathed for him.
Republican Party of Wisconsin Chairman Brian Schimming says the Republican National Convention will go on as planned this week. He gave his comments outside the Pfizer Forum, giving his condolences and informing reporters about the plan for the convention moving forward.
Everything for the convention is going on as planned. There are no major changes whatsoever at this point to the schedule for the convention that will be held here this week. I'm not concerned about the security. In fact, we have been working for months with the Secret Service, the city, the county, of course, dozens of law enforcement agencies all over Milwaukee. I feel very, very confident in the security situation here in Milwaukee.
Former President Trump has stated that he fully intends on being at the Republican convention. He actually just arrived there earlier today in Milwaukee. Now, I am now joined in the studio by multimedia journalist Samantha Walker. Both of us kind of spending the weekend digesting what has happened. We want to take the time and break down our perspective from yesterday's events with you. Sam, I know that here in the studio, I saw the event unfold after our sports anchor Brock Baldridge showed me a tweet. And then from there, rushing into the control room, seeing that our national affiliates were doing special reports on this. What started for me as a very big moment of, is this real, turned into, this is actually a really real situation. Kind of, how was it going for you as well?
You know, Anthony, I think that feeling of disbelief is something people all across the country were feeling in that moment. It's something we know that it's a possibility, but it's not something you necessarily expect to see. Sure. Now, I, like many Americans across the country, I got a news alert on my phone. I wasn't even going to necessarily look at it, but I just happened to glance down and I saw the headline and I instantly started researching, trying like you did to see if this was real and what information was available. I went to about every major news organization as well as the KOAM News Now page just to see what everyone was reporting. I saw that we were live, so I knew that this was something very serious. I was seeing so much information not only on social media, so I was just trying to look and see what was real and just what details were available. It certainly was a very surreal experience to be a part of.
Absolutely, and you know, I think there's so much information available to us nowadays, especially with social media. There's so many things out there that you don't believe because you don't know if they're fake or not. And kind of national news has kind of told us this is a historic moment, and you know, for us, for our age, for our generation, this is not a moment we've ever experienced, and hopefully it's never something we have to experience again.
I mean, certainly not. This is not something I think we can all agree on that we want to experience as a country. It's certainly a very trying time that I think it will be interesting to see how this goes moving forward.
Absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. And like always, like we said yesterday, when I had Dow Quick in the studio with me, as more information comes available to us here in the studio, check your national sources as well as your own local sources right here on KOAM News. We keep you updated for everything. We're going to go to a first look at weather with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney.
Weather has been pretty nice. We've got temperatures in the upper 80s now. It was a really hot day. Unfortunately, it's not going to be our last hot day. Tomorrow is even hotter with forecasted heat index up to 103, even pushing 110. So tomorrow is going to be pretty hot, pretty muggy as well. We've got a nice southerly breeze, which is just bringing in that Gulf air, which is causing us to have the high humidity, high temperatures as well. Temperatures across the region, 88 in Joplin, 95 in Parsons, 96 in Independence, so still pretty warm out in the western counties and cooler out in the eastern counties. Now, like I said, we've got heat advisories now for all of our counties, and these are continuing through 8 p.m. on Monday. We may see these continue through Tuesday as well, depending on how soon the cold front moves in. But we do have a cold front moving through, and we'll talk about it in just a bit. We'll go back to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up, Sam brings us to Miami, Oklahoma, as the residents get together to support one another.
Small businesses across Oklahoma join together to participate in the Weekend of Local. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
Small business across Oklahoma joined together today to participate in the Weekend of Local. KOAM Samantha Walker has more on the statewide event that helps promote local businesses.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome to the Donkey's Den.
Thank you. The Donkey's Den in Miami is just one of more than 350,000 small businesses in Oklahoma. For owner Kyla Jones, being a local business is important.
As part of the Donkey's Den, it's been my mission so far to incorporate the community as much as I possibly can. I fell in love with Miami a few years ago when I got here, and my love has just continued to grow. I love the people, I love working with the community, I love working with the city, I love working with the chamber, all the different elements together, the different shopkeepers, the different business owners, all together. You'd be amazed at how much all of us work together.
Her store is one of the hundreds across Oklahoma to join in the statewide event Weekend of Local, which emphasizes shopping at small, locally owned businesses.
All of us working together, trying to get people to come in and shop locally, get your feet on the ground, get out and walk, have some fun, entertain yourself, but keeping it local by supporting small businesses and local businesses that really need it the most, especially in these trying times.
She says this is a time when small businesses really need help.
I think right now overall things are just hard for everybody, and that's understandable and that's okay. But that's not where I feel my responsibility is. I feel my responsibility is to stay here and do the best that I can to provide something beautiful for Miami.
According to the Miami, Oklahoma Main Street organization, for every dollar spent at a locally owned business, 67 cents goes back into the community. That's more than if that dollar was spent at a national retailer.
If you shop local, the more you shop local, the more you're actually doing to support your local community.
And the importance of shopping local is not lost on customers. For Dee Jones, a small business owner herself, she says she prefers to shop local as she believes they are the backbone of communities.
It's small businesses that make our country great. And so when you have a small business in your community, a local business, and they're doing a good job, they have done something beautiful for you or providing a service that is, above the standard like Donkey's Den has done, then you want to support them. You want to come out and be a part of that. And so yes, I feel like it is key to every community to support their small businesses that are just right around them.
Reporting in Miami, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Weekend of Local is organized by the Independent Shopkeepers Association in Oklahoma, along with the help of local Main Street organizations and the Chamber of Commerce. Lindsay is next with a complete look at the forecast, and a little later, the after effects that Hurricane Beryl has left on the state of Missouri.
Well, over the next several days, temperatures are going to continue to heat up as that ridge settles over our area, giving us a nice heat wave. Not until cold front moves in later this week. We'll go ahead and take a look downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Looking pretty good. Overall, tonight's not going to be a bad night. We're dipping down into the 80s. Currently, we're dropping down to the upper 70s for our low. It's going to continue for the next several days because we do have this heat advisory for all of our counties tomorrow. So tomorrow is an alert day due to the high temperatures and the high index values. Tomorrow's going to be pretty hot, pretty muggy most of the day. Now, overall tonight we're looking pretty good. We've got a few passing clouds, but overall we're going to stay dry until tomorrow. Now, we've got a major heat risk for all of our counties, and even in some of our western counties at extreme heat risk. So we've got Eureka, Burlington, Fredonia, Chanute, Independence, all in those areas we're going to experience very high heat index values, getting up to 110 in some areas. In Joplin, 106. Out in our eastern counties, a little bit cooler, but still in the triple digits. 101 in Cassville, 105 in Lockwood. Now we go over to the western counties. That's where I'm mostly concerned about because we've got 108 heat index value in Nowata, Independence, Welsh, Parsons, Chanute, even 109 in Sedan and Fredonia. So it's going to be pretty hot tomorrow. Heat index is the humidity paired with the temperatures. That's where we get that number. Now we move into Tuesday, still going to be pretty hot, but not as bad in some areas. So in our southeastern counties, 85 in Aurora, 88 in Neosho. We do have the potential for a cold front to be moving through early Tuesday morning, but likely it will hold off until late Tuesday evening and into Wednesday morning. So we do still have a chance for slightly cooler temperatures on Tuesday, but likely will still be in the triple digits heat index values. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the future track, and we're going to see that cold front that does move in. So we've got a few showers forecasted for early Tuesday morning, but it's going to retreat, and then we're going to see main threat for severe weather Tuesday night and into early Wednesday morning. So this is Wednesday about 2 a.m. We see a cluster of thunderstorms popping up near Springfield and in Missouri, so Joplin and Webb City, those areas. And we'll continue into the early morning hours. Thunderstorms really do kick off. We've got more strength in some of those isolated storms, so we could see strong to low end severe threat for our storms on Wednesday. Now, we do have the chance for some of these scattered thunderstorms continuing for most of the day on Wednesday, possibly stretching into early Thursday morning. But after that, temperatures drop down nearly 15 degrees, 84 degrees on Wednesday and Thursday, 85 on Friday. Now, after the cold front moves through, we do have a nice stretch of pretty decent days, decent temperatures, back around average for this time of year.
Still, we got to get through the heat before we get to those decent
My
days.
advice, stay inside, stay hydrated, stay in shady areas.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, good ideas. Thanks, Lindsay. After the recent hurricanes, heavy rain flooding occurred through parts of the Ozarks. In Howell County, a heavily traveled creek crossing got washed out, and people who live in the area say they were ready for a more sustainable solution. Hayden Savage reports on why this particular crossing has been such a headache.
Well, Lee, this is that crossing right behind me here, Pine Creek on County Road 1190 in northern Howell County near Willow Springs. The neighbors tell me that about every time it rains enough to flood, this is what's left behind. They also told me not too long ago today they had to pull a van out of the creek because it got stuck. They say they're hoping for a solution that'll stick the next time it comes a flood.
Every time it comes a storm, rains quite a lot, the bridge is washed out.
Unless you have four-wheel drive like this driver, it can be a hassle to get to where you need to go. It's a problem that isn't new to those who live on County Road 1190. For years, when the water rises, you likely won't be crossing it, that is safely. And after this week's flood, people like Sheila Collins say they're ready for something to change.
We've called the commissioner to come out here and fix it, but then when it rains again, it just washes right back out.
Her concern isn't only for the convenience of going into town. It's also for her neighbors who have medical conditions, and should they need help, it'd be hard to get to them.
There's folks out here that have health issues. How are they going to get somebody out here like to get them to the hospital if they need to go?
The issue isn't something Howell County has been ignoring, though.
It has caused a lot of headache for our residents out there, our road crews, and me too.
Northern Commissioner Calvin Wood says since the spring, crews have been trying to find a solution. But every time they get a step ahead, Mother Nature sends them a step back.
In April, we started our first little process out there. We had a tornado come through the county. Then we had another major flooding incident happened in June.
Wood says the county has heard their complaints and is looking for a permanent solution.
We're going to go right back in and try to get it nailed down and try to get it established and put in. We're trying to make a better crossing than what we had before.
Collins feels like a stronger structure will stand the test of time and floodwaters.
A concrete bridge, and that way, because there's so much water flow, you know, the volume of the water is unreal out here.
Back with more news after the break. Data of almost all AT&T customers was downloaded in a security breach, mostly over the span of 5 months in 2022. Around 109 million cellular customers, mobile virtual network operators using the company's wireless network, and landline customers who communicated with the cell numbers were impacted. Cybersecurity experts say the information could be used to figure out who customers are communicating with and can piece together events. The company's investigation is ongoing. At least one person was apprehended so far. On Friday, the Standard & Poor's 500 index set an all-time high for a third straight day on the heels of June's 206,000 added jobs. And the Dow Jones Industrial Index closed over the 40,000 mark within a breath of its all-time high close set on May 17th. But with higher unemployment and lower Treasury yield, speculation says it's time for main interest rate cuts. Lower interest rates could help everything like lower mortgage and student loan rates and credit card rate changes. Interest rate cuts under Fed Chairman Jerome Powell could theoretically happen in September and December. A new survey by investment firm BlackRock says 68% of Americans think they're staying the course in their retirement planning. That's up 11% over last year, but 60% also worry about outliving their investments when they retire. And younger Americans, particularly 69% of Gen Zers born between 1997 and 2012, have really high anxiety over it. Vanguard data says employer-sponsored retirement funds are averaging more than $134,000, but Americans think they need $1.6 million to retire comfortably. Tens of thousands of U.S. cars involved in airbag deployments may have gotten fake airbags as replacements. A report from auto company Carfax says nearly 2 million cars currently on the road have had airbags deployed in the last 2 years, and scammers could be finding opportunities in replacements. The report comes as the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration is warning drivers about cheap and substandard airbags from aftermarket suppliers. The NHTSA says 3 people have been killed in the last year from faulty replacement airbags. Back with more news after the break. Joplin native Matt McCulley's film Undefiled was shown today during Second Sunday Cinema at the Cornell Complex in Joplin. The faith-based film is about a man who's on a baseball team and discovers the team's secret that he has a hard time dealing with and how he navigates that situation.
5, almost 6 years worth of work from beginning to end to get that thing done. And so, yeah, really always neat to have an audience that you don't know and see their reaction to it. The first couple times we showed it back in February, people reacted to things that I didn't think they would react to. You know, really kind of a neat thing.
Other films shown today include I Broke Out of Prison, a documentary about Ratia Rogers, and On Angel's Wings by Julie Stoker of Springfield. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way when we come back. Just before 8 a.m. today, a serious crash closed I-44 westbound near the Main Street exit. Joplin police say a westbound truck went off the road and struck a rock cliff, overturning violently. Joplin firefighters had to quickly use tools to free the driver from the wreckage. Captain William Davis tells KOAM the driver was the sole occupant, rushed to an area hospital, and he's listed in critical condition. The Joplin Police Major Crash Team responded to begin investigation of the crash. I-44 traffic was opened again after 2 hours. The top military commander of Hamas and one of the architects of the October 7th massacre may have been killed after being targeted by an Israeli airstrike yesterday in Gaza. Fox News correspondent Stephanie Bennett has more.
The Hamas-run health ministry says at least 90 people were killed and hundreds of others were injured in the latest airstrike in Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis is where thousands of displaced Palestinians have fled to and are living in tents. The local hospital says it's overwhelmed and is no longer able to function because of the large number of casualties.
I suddenly saw my whole tent collapse over me, under the rubble. Who could I rescue? My mother? Or my child that's still a baby? Or my wife? Or my children? I couldn't even tell where I was or what was happening. I couldn't tell if it was a dream or not. I left the tent and looked around. All the tents were knocked down.
Israeli officials confirmed that Mohammed Daif and a second Hamas commander were the targets of the strike. Daif has been in hiding for more than 2 decades and is believed to be paralyzed after surviving previous assassination attempts. He is believed by many to be the chief architect of the October 7th attack that killed some 1,200 people in southern Israel. He's also believed to have developed Hamas's network of tunnels and its bomb-making expertise. But now his potential killing threatens to derail ceasefire talks, just after President Biden announced that Israel and Hamas had agreed to a framework for a ceasefire deal using the 3-part plan he laid out in May, which included releasing Israeli hostages.
That framework is now agreed on by both Israel and Hamas, and I'm determined to get this deal done and bring an end to this war, which should end now.
Hamas has described this latest airstrike as a grave escalation and shows that Israel isn't interested in a ceasefire deal. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
Protesters took to the streets of several cities across Israel on Saturday, demanding the Israeli government to secure a deal to release all hostages held in Gaza. Families of hostages held in Gaza also took part in the ongoing anti-government protests, including in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and Caesarea. Many waved Israeli flags and held up signs with images of Israeli hostages, calling on the government to bring them home immediately. In Jerusalem, masses outside the Knesset demanded the government accept the hostage release deal and bring everyone home now. In Tel Aviv, protesters marched west on Kaplan. All are demanding the government accept the hostage release deal and bring everyone home now. The American Legion is getting a hand from a bunch of gamers to help save the organization. Fox's Eamon Dignam has more on this edition of our Fox on Game series.
Regiment Gaming is a veterans group whose main mission is to help vets from all military branches come together, giving them a safe space to talk with others, helping to reintegrate into civilian life, ensure mental health and wellness, and ultimately stop military suicides with competitive video games. Now they have a new mission: save the American Legion. Regiment CEO Chris Earle says the Legion is dying out, literally. The average age of the group's members is 77, and now Regiment is trying a high-tech solution to bring in some young blood. Starting in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and attempting to expand nationwide, they're setting up gaming stations and hosting competitions with veterans to help get them to join up. All part of an ongoing effort to use gaming to help service members of all ages. And the PCs they're using for the new program are state-of-the-art, donated by Paradox Customs, known for making high-end gaming rigs. For this story and more, check out the Fox on Tech, Fox on Games podcast every weekend. In New York, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
Lindsay is next with another full look at the forecast when we come back.
Well, we do have pretty nice temperatures this evening. Unfortunately, that trend is going to continue to increase. Tomorrow, we get really high temperatures, one of our highest on the forecast, but we'll take a look downtown Joplin from Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Tonight, looking pretty good. Clear skies, a nice southerly breeze. Unfortunately, temperatures are going to continue to rise through tomorrow, 8 p.m. We've got a heat advisory issued for all of our counties due to high temperatures in the upper 90s and even reaching triple digits tomorrow. And the heat index value is going to be up to 110 in some areas. So, going to be pretty hot, pretty muggy as well tomorrow. Tonight, though, enjoy it while you can. It's going to be clear skies. We're getting down to the upper 70s, low 80s in some areas. So overall, tonight's going to be pretty nice. But tomorrow, our heat risk is pretty high. We've got a major risk for all of our counties, and then even an extreme risk creeping into some of our western counties as we're going to see the highest heat index values in this area. So Eureka, Chanute, Independence, Fredonia as well, Burlington, Yates Center, all going to be in that extreme risk. Now we move into Tuesday, and the major risk shifts a little bit further south. We do have a cold front moving through, which is going to bring in cooler temperatures on Tuesday. So our future feels, this is our heat index value. It's paired with humidity and temperatures. With temperatures being in the upper 90s triple digits, we've got heat index values up to 106 in Joplin, 107 in Pittsburgh, Girard, Baxter Springs, Miami, even warmer 109 in Sedan and Fredonia as well. A little bit cooler out in the southeast though. Unfortunately, most of our counties are going to be in the triple-digit heat index values. Then we move into Tuesday. Like we saw earlier, the major risk is mostly isolated for our southern counties. Northern, a little bit cooler, heat index values in 99, 95 out in Lockwood, but in our southwestern counties, still reaching triple digits. So it's going to be pretty hot for the next couple of days. We'll go ahead and take a look at the future tracks, see when we can expect that cold front to move through. We have chances for a few showers early Tuesday mornings. This is about 6:30 in the morning. We've got a few showers. This is the cold front that's pushing in, but it does retreat. So we don't see the full effects of the storms until later on in the evening and into early Wednesday morning. About 2 a.m., we start to see a cluster of thunderstorms popping up near Springfield and even pushing into Joplin, Webb City, and those areas, Carl Junction as well. Then we'll push forward to later in the morning, 6:30. We've got isolated storms that are going to be strong to low and severe in our area. Now this is the cold front that's moving through. After it does move through early Wednesday morning, temperatures drop nearly 15 degrees, 84 on Wednesday and Thursday, 85 on Friday, 88 on Saturday. So we start to warm back up. Low temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 60s as the high temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s for the rest of the week after that cold front.
But that 100 degrees just doesn't look great.
Just, stay inside, stay hydrated, definitely.
Put sunscreen on if you do go outside.
If you do go outside, wear a hat.
That's good too.
Yeah.
I love hats.
Awesome. That's fantastic for you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Coming up in sports, Webb City football head coach Ryan McFarland joins us in studio. KOAM Sports anchor Brock Baldridge interviews the coach about this upcoming season and more.
Welcome into sports. Tonight I'm joined by Webb City head football coach Ryan McFarland. And Coach, thanks so much for stopping in tonight.
Hey, appreciate you having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I want to start by this. Last year was your first year as head coach. You take over for the legendary head coach John Roderick. So just kind of walk me into that first year transitioning into what this year is going to be.
Yeah, last year was a situation where Coach Roderick and I had talked about it, for probably many, many years. And when you finally get hired and the day after I got hired, I remember sitting there thinking, holy cow, what have I done? And we put together our off-season program. We get our coaching staff together, and our assistant coaches did such a great job in that transition. And, having Coach Roderick still as our athletic director, it was great to have him, just down the hallway to where when I did have questions, he could come by and we still talked a lot. And then probably the most unique thing was our first home game of the year. Towards the end of the school day, him and I walked down the football field, and we were both kind of, it was a unique experience for him and a unique experience for me, just, something different for both of us, but we have this relationship and we work well together, and, we made it through the first year.
Absolutely. So now you head to year two, and you had that deep run in the Class 5 playoffs. You made the Final Four. You came up only 1 game short, really 1 point short, as unfortunately your season came to an end. But what does this year's team really need to do to put it all together this year?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing from last year was, you make it to the semifinals and you come up 1 point short, and it really gave, it's frustrating to lose that way, but it really gave our coaches and our players the confidence moving forward. And, like you said, feeling it, with Coach Roderick not being a part of the program anymore, no one really knew what direction it was going to go. And I think, we would have loved to have played for a state championship last year, but I think being in position to where we were so close to a state championship, our coaching staff and our kids believe we can get back there.
And a few challenges for this year's schedule, really. You go into a new conference, or the conference has always been the COC, but you add new opponents to the schedule. So few changes there. You go against teams like Kickapoo and Lebanon. Just talk about the challenges that you face as a coach going against those new opponents.
Yeah, the COC is always tough, and we lost Carl Junction and Branson, which are 2 programs that we've had a history with, and we get to add Lebanon and Kickapoo, and Lebanon, I believe, was 10-1 last year, and Kickapoo was 9-2 last year. So you're adding 2 really, really good football programs, and Lebanon's going to be coached really well. They played Republic in the district championship game and got beat by 3, so they were right there where we were last year. And Kickapoo's a bigger school. They had 9 wins last year, and we started the season, we go Lebanon, Nixa, Kickapoo our first 3 games, so that's going to be a heck of a challenge for our kids. And I think it's kind of motivated our kids a little bit because they get to see somebody different, somebody new, and they know that there's 3 really, really good programs to start the season with, so we got to be ready to go early.
Yeah, in the middle of the summer. We're only in July, but I know some people at home may not think football players are doing too much at the time of the year, where in reality you're doing a lot this time of the year. So what are you guys working on this summer before you really ramp up the season in August?
Yeah, so in June we did a couple 7-on-7 days, and we really didn't do a lot in June. We try to let our basketball coaches and baseball and wrestling coaches have the kids as much as they need. And then after the 4th of July, this past week, we started our football stuff, and we'll be really heavy into football for the next 3 weeks. And this is kind of where we set the foundation for the season, and we had a great week this week, and we're looking forward to getting going next week.
Yeah, there we go. Jamboree, August 23rd. Week 1 on the road at Lebanon, August 30th. Looking forward to it. Coach, thanks so much for stopping in with us tonight.
Hey, appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, that's your look for sports. We're back with more news right after this.
With the return of summer heat in the forecast, a reminder that heat can impact the effectiveness of medications and your body's ability to stay cool. Nick Kelly breaks it all down.
Summer heat will return starting this weekend. It's something that a local pharmacist is familiar with and not looking forward to.
I run a lot, and when you run in the mornings, if it's already 80 degrees when you're running, it's pretty miserable. So on those days it's going to be 90s and 100 degrees, it gets pretty unbearable first thing in the morning.
Even though he takes it in stride, he encourages those with certain medications to take it easy as the heat returns. While not all medications can impair your body's ability to sweat and cool down, some surprising medications, like beta blockers, can.
Like a beta blocker, a drug that ends in OLOL, those are for blood pressure or heart. Those also make you not sweat as much, so then you would be more susceptible to like a heat of some sort.
Plus, anyone treating their depression or OCD with medications like Prozac, Zoloft, or sertraline can have problems with the heat.
They can cause you to, have some fluid type issues like shifting into different spaces and cause you to have the heat issues.
People on these types of medications and others like antihistamines can take additional steps like hydrating more frequently, applying more sunscreen before heading back outside, and taking frequent breaks in either the shade or air conditioning.
Plus, it's important your medication is stored properly, not inside your car.
You think I'm just going to go in and go grocery shopping for an hour. That's an hour that they're sitting at 100 degrees. Those pills in that bottle are going to start, breaking down. They're going to start not working as well.
Medications, whether in liquid or pill form, are best kept stored in a cool and dry place in your home, like a dresser drawer, a closet, or kitchen cabinet away from sources of heat and moisture.
Back with more news after this. The 6th annual Independence Celebration took place in Neosho. The event had music, hot dogs, and games such as cornhole and disc golf for participants to enjoy, all for free. The event will be capped off with a fireworks show.
The fact that we care about community and we really want to connect with the community. We've been feeding the community and been involved with the community for several years, and so it's just it's important to us to be able to serve and just provide some good times with no charge, nothing to worry about, just come and have a good time.
NASA is celebrating the 2-year anniversary of the James Webb Telescope with the release of a vivid new photo. The image shows a pair of intertwined galaxies, which NASA calls the Penguin and the Egg. Known jointly as ARP-142, the galaxies first passed each other tens of millions of years ago, causing the new star formation you see within the Penguin. NASA says the galaxies are about the same mass, which is why one hasn't consumed the other. The $10 billion James Webb Space Telescope first started taking images in July of 2022. It's the most sophisticated infrared space telescope ever constructed. And Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes has 3 Super Bowl rings under his belts, and soon he'll have just as many children. In a social media post Friday, Mahomes and his wife Brittany announced they are expecting their 3rd child together. The high school sweethearts are already parents to 3-year-old daughter Sterling and 1-year-old son Bronze. The announcement comes on the heels of Mahomes nabbing the Best NFL Player award at the 2024 ESPYs on Thursday. Well, congratulations to the Mahomeses.
Yes. Going back to the telescope.
Yes.
Do you think
like
they named it right? I love space. Do you think they named it because it actually looked like a penguin? Because it did. It looked like a penguin.
I would assume that is why.
I wasn't
think that
sure.
is an accurate.
Because it was cool. I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, that looks like a penguin. And I was like, oh, that's probably.
I wish we were in charge of naming galaxies.
What job is that?
Yeah.
I also want to be in charge of the person who names the hurricanes, too. That's a job.
There you go.
I would like that job.
Absolutely. Would you have chosen Beryl?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight. That's all from us here, from all of us here at KOAM. Have a great night.